Shawn, would you draw the shades? The sun off your scalp is blinding me.
At least I'd shut up, Richard.
Welcome to episode 33 of What's the Buzz, the podcast that keeps you informed and entertained on all things pest control. I'm Jordan.
I'm Shawn.
And together we're here to buzz through the world of pests, big and small. From the latest in pest management techniques to the fascinating facts about the critters we all love to hate, we've got the insights you need. It's another week, and we are here once again to share our expert advice, real-life stories, and practical tips to help you keep your home pets free. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover what's really buzzing in the world.
Pow.
Man, I really thought with our little hiatus that we had, I was not going to be able to pull that off. But
You did. You pulled it off.
I needed a couple little refreshers, but for the most part, we got it.
We're at episode 33.
33.
Well, hiatus because you're missing. You want to tell our listeners where you were?
Yeah, I'd love to. I went to Florida with my family. Had a week of sun and fun.
Sun and fun.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Huh.
Went fishing, played on the beach.
Check emails. You check work emails while you were gone?
I tried not to, but I did some.
Why?
What do you mean, why? I tried to disconnect a little bit.
Why didn't you disconnect all the way?
It's kind of hard to sometimes. Why? I don't know. It's just kind of hard to sometimes.
Okay. All right. Well, topic this week is pest control questions.
Yeah. It's kind of like
Like a Q&A.
Like a Q&A, putting yourself
Like
in
a
a
Q&A.
putting yourself in a client's shoes, maybe asking if you ever had the interest of being in pest control, working as a technician, some of those myths that people talk about, a lot of different Q&As. So, Shawn, you want to get us kicked off?
Yeah, let's just start from the beginning. How about that?
Let's do it.
You ready for that?
I am.
Jordan, how did you get into pest control? And was it something you always saw yourself doing?
Yeah, when I was 5, I said I wanted to be the bug guy.
Did you really?
No,
Okay.
no, I didn't. I went to school for criminal justice.
That worked out well. I see.
Obviously, didn't get there. But that's kind of what I went to school for, and quickly realized that wasn't the path that I wanted to take. And I saw on, I believe it was Indeed, even then at the time, there was... Indeed it was. There was a spot open here at Bug Zero, and applied, and got into it. And I realized pretty quick that it was a lot of fun. Sounds kind of weird, but fits what I like to do, being outside. And just kept getting better.
So now your duties have changed and you're not outside ever. So how's
That's
that? How have you taken with that change?
I think in the beginning it was difficult to be behind a desk all the time. But it's the same concept. We're still, prescribing solutions for pests all the time. We may not be in the field figuring it out that way, but we deal more with the out of the ordinary stuff when you're behind the desk, I would say. So still fun. I'm just not out doing it as much as I used to be.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate. I am dragging you outside tomorrow.
We are going outside tomorrow.
All day.
That's exciting. I get to see the sun.
We got a pond treatment tomorrow.
We do.
So paddle boat, is that what we're going with? Paddle boat?
Paddle boat, John boat, whatever happens.
Okay. Either way, I get to pull you outside.
Yep, I get to go outside.
You might get a sunburn, so.
I've already been burnt.
Perfect.
Now
From Florida?
Yeah, from Florida.
Oh.
I got pretty burnt.
Where am I supposed to not slap you at?
Well, I'm past that point. My skin is just peeling off my body.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Can you tell me what a day in the life as a pest control technician kind of looks like?
As a pest control technician?
Yeah.
Well, it varies depending on whether you're residential or commercial.
Okay.
Whether you're one of our bed bug techs or you're our termite technician.
Right.
But just a regular residential technician. Most of your stops are going to be our insect shield services. You might have a couple per request, one-time services mixed in throughout your day.
Right.
But really, you're kind of starting your day anywhere between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. Usually have, I'm not sure if it's changed since I was doing residence route work, but 15 stops throughout the day. Uh, and you're just taking care of customers,
Yep.
responding to any pest issues, doing the preventative maintenance on our insect shield service, uh, and just maintaining that communication between Bug Zero and clients.
Yep.
So sometimes the insect shield services, most of them are going to go smooth and not going to run into any issues or hiccups, but you always get that one or two stops during the day where might be dealing with an issue that you don't see every day. So you got to kind of be able to think outside the box and take care of that problem.
Yeah,
So,
beyond that, you never know what each stop's going to bring, whether you're going to find a bunch of ant nests and mulch beds or you're not going to find anything, and then you're just doing the preventative,
absolutely.
like you mentioned. So,
Why did you say it that way? That's
mentioned.
all right.
I'm French.
Are you? Yeah, French fry.
Well,
Anyway,
we purposely didn't do jokes today, but
so how about what's the day in the life of the director of sales and service look like?
it's a little bit more boring, probably for our listeners. Gosh,
Meetings,
there are a fair amount of those.
emails,
Yeah, a fair amount of emails
phone calls,
too. Fair amount of phone calls.
spreadsheets.
A lot of spreadsheets.
Okay,
Yeah.
does that pretty much nail it?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, my position started as a support system, just for basically everybody, and it's morphed and changed over the years. But yeah, you pretty much hit it. Phone calls, emails, spreadsheets. It's a lot of what I do now.
That's awesome.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Now, Shawn,
Okay.
walk me through a day in the life that you have every single day.
Well, mine schedule probably varies more than anybody else's schedule here.
Probably so.
And it just depends on what week of the month it is, or my main job to me is networking, building relationships, and education. Even though I'm commercial sales, so it just depends what I got going on that day. Usually, I'm leaving the house somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes earlier. You know, our area chamber of commerces that we're members of, attending those events, whether that's a morning coffee, business after hours, a leads group, other networking groups we're a part of, and also cold calling on new businesses, just stopping in, introducing myself, leaving them information so that if they do ever need Bug Zero, they know how to get a hold of me, know how to get a hold of us, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. Sometimes it can be long hours, especially if you have a morning coffee and after hours event in the same day.
Right. You just never know what that next phone call is going to be, whether it's going to be a 1,000 square foot coffee shop or it's going to be a 30,000 square foot warehouse that we have to get to.
And there's plenty of times where I've been in Joplin or Neosho and it's kind of been a slow day, maybe during our slower season, and you get a call from somebody that's needing a quote or inspection in Bolivar or Buffalo, so you're driving from Neosho, Joplin to Bolivar, Buffalo to try to get that done. But
it's a good thing I don't do that.
Yeah, he would die. Like, he can't even drive to Mount Vernon without.
He mentioned we're going to Carthage tomorrow. So
I didn't necessarily mention Carthage, but I mentioned getting you out of the house.
Excuse me. We're going to Carthage tomorrow. Carthage from here is about 50 minutes, probably.
Okay.
Would you say?
Okay.
50 minutes?
Yeah.
And about 20 minutes in, I'll start complaining that we're still in the car.
Yeah, he is.
I don't like to ride. Maybe I should drive tomorrow.
No, that's not going to help your cause.
All right.
Anyway.
Moving on. Hey, Shawn.
Hey, Jordan.
You came to Bug Zero.
I did.
What certifications did you need before you started and then shortly after you started?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay.
0.
Ah.
So you don't need any kind of previous training certifications to get hired at Bug Zero. We actually prefer people that don't have any. experience or previous pest control experience, because we like to train people the way we do service right from the get-go. And
Right.
a lot of times it's hard to, if somebody's been in the industry, been taught bad habits or developed bad habits, it's hard to get them to change those bad habits.
Sure.
But right off the bat, nothing. We do all the training here. We'll get you your, pest control technician license from the Missouri Department of Ag. We'll take care of all the training. We've got standard procedures you'll learn, and that's about it.
Very nice. Very nice.
I got a question though. What is one part of your job that most people would be surprised to learn about?
I'm going to put myself in the shoes of a technician again.
Okay.
Excuse me. I think one of the things that surprised me most about the job
Mm-hmm.
is the amount of client education and interaction that is necessary to perform being a technician at a high level.
That's 100%.
Because so much of what we do, it's not a magical cure for everything. It involves client interaction as well, sanitation, removing things from foundations. There's a lot of cooperation working with our clients that has to happen in order for us to be successful. And some pests more than others, like ants. You're probably going to have ants no matter what, but there are some things that you can do to kind of protect yourself from that. So I just think the overall knowledge and taking that knowledge and educating our clients with it was surprising to me.
That's a good answer.
Would you agree?
I agree with that. I feel like most of my job, commercial sales, especially in networking groups, you see the same people week after week after week, sometimes multiple times a week or multiple times a day. And you'd be shocked on things that you have to educate people about that you automatically assume because you're in the industry.
Right.
So
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
In your days as a technician,
Okay.
what was your favorite pest to deal with? And were there any that kind of gave you more trouble than others?
My favorite pest to deal with would be the German cockroach.
German cockroach.
German cockroach. They're really bad infestations. Mainly because it's out of the normal of what we see on a daily basis. It's not preventative maintenance at that point.
Right.
It's clean out, and you actually see progress while you're working.
Yeah.
Pests that you probably gave me the most trouble would probably have to be clover mites.
Mm.
Sometimes they can be a little pesky.
They sure can.
But yeah. Does that answer your question?
It sure does.
Perfect.
Great job, Shawn.
My turn. What's the most memorable or bizarre pest situation you've ever walked into?
Memorable or bizarre? Well, I can go off bizarre.
Probably needs to be appropriate too.
This one was appropriate.
Okay.
The most bizarre, we'll just go right off your clover mite story there. We had a report in a large facility that they had clover mites on the first floor, in the middle of their building, in the very center. It was a rather large facility.
Okay.
So none of the outside offices had any of those clover mites. And for those of you that don't know what clover mites are, they're those little itty bitty red mites that crawl around, usually on pavement. You might see them inside, but windowsills on the inside. But a lot of times where you'll see them is on their sidewalks and whatnot around the house. So anyway, we had the center office space that had all of these clover mites, and I'm talking going in and out of computers, in people's drinks. So immediately when we think clover mites, we think fertilized grass or soil, something like that. And they had just got a big shipment of plants in. They gave them all to their employees. So we're in there and we're looking, and we're like, oh yeah, there's a few clover mites in there. Wasn't coming from that at all. So it took us several trips just to kind of figure out where these clover mites were. We got up on the 3rd-story roof, and there were clover mites all over the place. And there was one section right in the middle that was all a glass wall, basically. And they were literally from the third floor, getting in those windows, falling all the way to the first floor, and they were hanging out in the middle of the building right there.
That's crazy.
That's bizarre.
That's pretty bizarre. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
So, Shawn, tell me a very, very appropriate, memorable pest
Memorable pest,
problem.
and it has to be appropriate.
Preferably, yes.
All the ones that popped to my mind are not appropriate for this show, so we're gonna skip.
Zero. What's the buzz after dark? Just kidding.
But zero confessions.
Oh, you're funny. Hey, Shawn.
Okay.
How do you balance
Mm-hmm.
being effective with being safe for both us as applicators and our clients in their homes?
Well, risk versus reward, right? So, uh, what issues are they having? What's the risk involved with the treatment? Obviously, you know, you're talking attic treatments in summertime when it's super hot.
Mhm.
We schedule those early in the morning, or if it's a access, attic space where we can't maintain 3 points of contact, and there's a possibility of us going through some drywall ceiling.
Sure.
Are they having pest issues? Is it necessary that we risk that? And so, really, it's just about education on our technicians' part on safety, and communication with the client. And what pest issues are they having? Is it necessary to treat certain areas and whatnot? So,
Agreed.
agreed. I'm glad because I'm always right. So, what's the biggest myth people have about pest control or exterminators?
The biggest myth?
Uh-huh.
Man, I think the first one I think of is if it don't stink, it don't work.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
Yeah.
It's not the 70s anymore.
Another one we could touch on, I mean, we're not miracle workers. It's not just you treat something and they disappear.
Yeah, we can't just put a force field around your house or your business and keep
Right.
everything out all the time.
Right. So when I talked earlier about that cooperation, ants are huge, and one, we have to use a non-repellent product so they don't figure out something's going on. So it takes time.
Slow acting. So
Mosquito suppression services are suppression because we can't put a force field around your house.
that goes with flies, with large and small flies too. So
Absolutely. So a little squirt of the juice doesn't always just make you pest free.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's a big myth.
Yeah.
That's a big myth.
Yeah.
How about can you mix it extra strong?
Unlikely. I will say there are different rates for different pests. So, but no, we're not going to mix it extra strong just to try and take care of a problem. So,
All right, I got another question.
what is that?
Have you seen an increase in eco-friendly or chemical-free pest control options, and are they really effective?
Yes, I have seen an increase.
Okay.
And are they effective? It depends.
Agreed.
I will say it depends. Obviously, with our bedbug heat treatments, those are far more effective than any kind of chemical application that's made out there. If you're talking about spider control or ant control with peppermint oil or other things, it's not going to be effective. So I think it depends on what you're dealing with, and it depends on what that eco-friendly product may be.
I agree.
Now go ahead. You're about to say something.
No, go ahead.
Our boat docks and things, we have to use more eco-friendly products just because you can't apply general pesticides where it's going to fall into water. And in those cases, there are some eco-friendly products that are somewhat effective against that.
It had me thinking about the devices you plug into your outlet that are supposed to repel rodents and pests. It kind of reminded me of a previous question about the most memorable, and I couldn't find anything appropriate to say. I have something appropriate to say now. So it was one of the first roach cleanouts that I did here. Walked into the house, Ron was with me. Um, and you seen German cockroaches on the wall, on the ceiling, moving everywhere. And the first thing I did before I plugged in our aerosol generator into the outlet was unplug one of those electric pest repellents that they had plugged in. And I said, wow, this is working really good.
That's
Yeah.
that's good.
Bedbug heat, I would, you know, really one of the only 100% sure kill chemical free, eco friendly options.
Yep.
So,
That's another question we get too. Will the heat kill other pests
yeah,
when you're doing that?
it will.
It will. We see from time to time cockroach infestations when there are bedbug infestations or ants in a home.
Mm-hmm.
Cockroaches can survive a nuclear blast, apparently. We should test that. You want to test that?
Maybe let's pull off and
Okay.
that.
Well, if anyone wants to see us test on nuclear blast with cockroaches, let me know. Shawn will not be here for that.
Yeah, I'll be in another time though.
But it will kill some of the cockroaches in a house. Ants is pretty well gonna knock
I actually did
majority of them out.
a bedbug heat on a townhome.
Yeah.
And after the first hour, whole time when I went back in to rotate the things around, took a second look at the kitchen counters and there were dead German cockroaches everywhere.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of cool.
cool. They were in their harborage area apparently during setup because I was being loud and had lights on and everything else. But
That's how it goes.
so what's the funniest or weirdest thing a customer has ever said or done while you were working?
Oh gosh, funniest thing a client has ever said or done. I'm gonna have to think on that.
You have to think on it.
Do you have anything?
I'm going to revert back to one of my previous answers on everything that I think is funny is not going to be appropriate to say at this current moment.
Okay. I'll keep thinking on that.
All right.
I'll ask you a question in the meantime.
Okay.
So obviously, when we are brought into these situations, it's pretty commonplace for us to see these things, but our clients is pretty devastating.
Absolutely.
So how do you deal with clients that may be upset or squeamish or just uneasy about the situation when you arrive to their home for that?
The biggest thing is just client education,
Mm-hmm.
specifically on the pests that they're dealing with, how they've came to that situation in the first place, kind of their habits of the pests that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And just letting them know that, pest issues really isn't anything to be embarrassed about. Everybody's going to have pest issues from time to time. Some worse than others, just based on conducive conditions and other things. But really, I think the biggest thing is just educating the client, and giving that confidence that we're going to take care of the situation.
Yeah. That and empathize, Like I said, we see this every single day.
Mm-hmm.
They're living a nightmare. So empathy and, like you said, everything else you said.
Empathy and education?
Empathy and education.
Okay.
Maybe we should start a series called Empathy and Education. I'll just cry and you can break out the Webster.
What's the Buzz After Dark episodes.
Sounds riveting.
Have you ever had to turn down a job because it was too dangerous or beyond the scope of pest control?
Too dangerous. Oh. Beyond the scope of pest control, yes. Yeah, definitely have. I mean, there are situations where, and maybe not so much even turn down a job, but we may have to get other people involved for sure because we're not general contractors. So you talked about clover mites getting inside window seals. If you've got a gaping hole the size of a softball in the side, there's not much we can do about that. And you're going to continue to have pests going in and out of that hole.
But we do have good referral partners.
We do have good referral partners for that. So not that we'll turn that down, but we're not going to do that portion of the work.
Right.
Also, I mean, turning down, if we're not going to be successful in a job, we're probably not going to take it on if you're a new client. So if we show up to a home and, conditions are terrible and you've got flies, but you've got horse manure in the backyard.
Manure in the backyard?
If you've got a horse in a small residential backyard and it's leaving its droppings behind, we're probably
you have
gonna
more
ask
than
you
a fly problem.
Probably so. So if we are not going to be successful, we're going to let you know we're not going to take your money, you're better off to fix these things before we start doing that kind of thing. As far as dangerous, I mean, a lot of that comes into, I guess, more like super high, but we still get on roofs if pest problems take us there.
Mm-hmm.
We avoid attics, like you said, in the summer as much as possible, but we're just cautious with things. Don't
Cautious.
necessarily turn anything down. So
Um,
I've got one.
okay.
So is pest control seasonal? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Pest are seasonal. Pest control is not.
Okay, so with that,
Okay.
do you stay busy in the wintertime?
Yes, we do. You want me to elaborate on that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. It's different pest pressure. That's why I said pests are seasonal.
Mhm.
In the wintertime, we see our fair share of increase in, mouse calls. Pests come in late fall during usually when that weather starts getting a little bit cooler, trying to overwinter inside. So your wall voids, your attics, your crawl spaces, sometimes they'll make their way up into the living area. But our business model is kind of based on recurring services. So commercially, we're doing typically it's monthly service or quarterly service, and so we're there monthly or quarterly, no matter what. Our insectic shield is every other month service, and in the wintertime, that's when we like to get in the attic. So we use a dust formulation pesticide inside attics crawl spaces that lasts a lot longer than the liquid applications.
Right.
And so we get in the attics in the wintertime. We get and do our annual crawl space inspections and treatments in the wintertime. Now, obviously, when spring hits, it brings a whole different beast of pest pressures as far as the ants, the wasps, the termite swarmers. And so pest controls are year round as far versus pests being seasonal depending on what pest it is.
Right. I agree.
So what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about getting into the pest control line of work?
What advice?
Mm-hmm.
I would say jump right in.
Just jump in, just go all in, just go for it.
I think there are a lot of misconceptions with our industry in general. It's not as nasty and gross as the media makes it look. It makes great TV.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it can be, but that's the norm. It's not that way. So if you like being on the go, outside, if you like talking to people, you like killing things, might be the job for you.
Perfect.
You have a license to kill.
You have a license to kill.
So
I would add be a sponge to that.
yeah,
Always trying to learn more.
Yeah.
The more you know, the more confidence you have, the more knowledge, able to take care of clients. So as long as I refer to it as a lifelong learner. As long as you're a sponge and want to keep learning all the time.
Yep.
We've been here a while and we still learn things all the time.
Yeah. In this industry especially, you start at the ground level, and the more you learn, the more indisposable you become, the more opportunities present themselves. So
let's do one final pest control question.
Okay.
What is one thing you wish more people understood about our job?
One thing I wish people understood. I think it goes back to the education portion of it, and we're not miracle workers.
Okay. I would go with people don't really understand the number and amount of different pesticides and pesticide formulations that we carry that are unique to different situations.
Sure.
We don't just have one, pesticide that we use all the time for everything, and different pests require different pesticides, different modes of action, and sometimes they're going to be slow acting, and that's the way that it's meant to be. So that'd be one thing I would change.
With everything, there's more going on than what meets the eye.
Correct.
So
did you make that up just now?
I don't know.
That's wild.
Maybe.
We got a couple 5-star reviews of the day here. How about that?
Beautiful.
This one comes to us from Brett LaForest from Joplin, Missouri.
All right.
3 weeks ago. Maybe we've been off 3 weeks.
Sorry, guys.
Weird. Recently changed from a local pest control place due to communication and appointment issues. Bug Zero has been amazing. Set me right up with an appointment, and assessment was quick and easy. Great service with amazing communication. Thank you.
Hey.
Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And then a week ago, we got a 5-star review.
That sounds better.
Stephen Ford. Let me expand this a little. After all the rain that we received lately, I began seeing carpenter ants in the house. I chose Bug Zero after seeing their ads on KY3. They were very accommodating with scheduling and inspection for me, but the weather wasn't cooperating. Storms knocked out my power, but they were still able to do the inspection and set the traps and spray. They are very professional and friendly, and I highly recommend them. Thank you, Bug Zero.
It's awesome.
Thank you, Stephen.
Steven
From
Saddlebrook.
Do you know if he's from Saddlebrook?
No, I know a Steven in Saddlebrook.
I guess it's got to be that Stephen,
Probably.
right?
I mean, how many people live in Saddlebrook?
I mean, it's a small community, but
It is a small community with probably...
how many Stevens are there in Southwest Missouri,
I don't
Southeast
know.
Kansas?
That's too much math for us.
Okay, so probably not the same Stephen that you know from Saddlebrook.
Well,
But yeah, we just wanted to touch on some common pest control questions.
Yeah.
And address those with our listeners and kind of get back in the saddle here, right in the midst of busy season, and get an episode done.
for sure.
You want to talk about what we're doing tomorrow?
I would love to talk about the first part or the second part.
All of it. Let's talk about all of it.
So Shawn roped us into a beautiful, beautiful acre pond treatment that has common duckweed. Shawn is a self-proclaimed pond specialist. I don't really know why he's proud of that. But anyway, he said that I can identify whatever's going on out there without having to bring it back. And I said, no, you should probably bring it back so we can make sure that you're right. And sure enough, he knew what it was. But I do want to comment.
I also knew what product we needed to use.
You are correct in saying that.
You're making fun of me
I'm about
for
to
the
make fun of you
product
again.
usage. To come to find out, it was the correct product.
It was, but I'm not done making fun of you yet. So I asked Shawn to collect a specimen and bring it back here so we could figure out what it was. So he does, and he brings it into my office, and he has a Walmart sack.
Oh,
Shawn, why is there a wet Walmart sack in my office?
aquatic.
So I reach into the bag, and I said, Shawn, it's wet. And he said, it's aquatic. So inside of, was it double
It's double
Walmart bag?
bagged all together.
There were 2 Ziploc bags, and it was still wet inside the Walmart bags.
I'm just saying. Then he proceeds to ask me the question, how did you take this sample? And I said, I scooped it with the Ziploc bag in the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the most...
That might be one of the out of the ordinary situations that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That one came to us on a referral from Conservation Department.
Yeah.
And so, we try to help out when we can with out of the ordinary situations. But,
Yeah.
Acre Pond, some clients, physically, as they're getting older, can't take care of that pond anymore. And we just want to help them out.
Yep. Occasionally we get those. We'll get them taken care of.
We've done some HOA ponds in the past. Typically, we do that with for mosquito
Right.
control, but
Yeah. It never hurts to ask, see if we do something.
typically, usually the answer is going to be
Probably so.
probably so. We can find a way to do it.
Yep. And if not, we've probably got somebody.
And that takes a special license from the Missouri Department of Ag too,
It does.
Category 5, aquatic pest control.
It does.
So, pays to know.
I wonder how many people actually have that in the state.
If I had my laptop here, I could give you an answer in about 30 seconds. But
The second part of our day, we are going to just dread going to the Neosho rescheduled golf tournament.
Neosho Area Chamber of Commerce.
Excuse me. Neosho Area Chamber of Commerce golf tournament.
Golf scramble.
Golf scramble. So far this year, we have not played well at all. At all.
That's true. I feel different about tomorrow.
Do you?
Yeah. Last year in this golf scramble, I won the longest drive hole. And it was literally the only good shot I had all day long.
Wow.
And I won by that much.
It only takes one.
It only takes one good swing.
Good for you.
I was just trying not to hit it into the road.
And you got a hold of it.
I got a hold of that sucker.
Good for you.
Because the previous one there at that hole, I almost hit a van that was on the road beside us. So
that's good. So that tells you how we play golf in our free time. So
free time. Do you have free time?
Not a lot.
Oh.
Not a lot.
I'm not sure what that is either.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing tomorrow. So
yeah.
But we'll try to get back with you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you got the customer questions or you got questions you want us to answer about Bug Zero, about us, about the pest control industry, shoot me an email to sales@bugzero.com. Hop on our Facebook page, leave a comment, and be sure to share this with all your friends everywhere you listen to your podcast.
I think one of the questions should be, how often does Shawn shave his head?
Here recently it's been weekly.
Weekly?
I mean, daily.
Daily?
Yeah.
Daily.
It used to be like 2 or 3 times a week. Like past couple of weeks though, whatever. It's just growing crazy fast. Like I'm reverse aging. So
let me ask you this question.
I don't want to get a 5 o'clock shadow on the back of my head.
If it's growing super fast, do you think it would grow back in? Or is it just this section that's...
No, it's just the crown.
Okay.
It's just the crown.
You should try and grow it out.
I should grow the crown. I should do a winter crown.
Oh.
Does that sound fair?
That sounds good. Yeah.
How about this? The winter crown with a mustache.
Or a skullet.
I think
just skull it.
I can go to a really good barber and have him put the Bug Zero logo in the back of that skullet.
Yeah, do that. You should do that.
We're going somewhere with this.
Let's do that.
Perfect. Perfect.
Oh, man.
I'd fit in around here.
I bet you would.
So,
I bet.
Perfect. You got anything else to add on this
episode? Sorry it took us
going downhill
again. Here we are.
Yeah, we're here. We're ready to rock. Episode 33. Coming at you, bringing the heat.
I'm Jordan.
This guy. Hey. All right. Appreciate you guys listening. Until next time on What's the Buzz podcast. I'm Shawn.
I'm Jordan.
Thanks for listening. See you. How long was that?
Creepy crawlers invading your home? Bug Zero. Spiders, ants, and flies? Oh my. Bug Zero. Bed bugs and mosquitoes leave you itchy for help? Bug Zero. Whether it's bugs in your home or bugs eating your home, Bug Zero has you protected. With both residential and commercial services, Bug Zero's comprehensive pest protection takes you from infestation to extermination. Serving